was a near-record haul of methamphetamine found at a busy border crossing between Mexico and the United States this week. 3,000 pounds of the stuff, stashed in a big rig, hidden among boxes of medical lab equipment. The mob reporter here with news of how the timely discovery of this $7 million load tells us almost everything we need to know about the evolution of drug smuggling along the southern border. First, let's take a quick look at what U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers found on Friday, October 9th, 2020. It was around 9:45 in the morning when a 47-year-old Mexican citizen drove a transport truck and trailer to the Otay Mesa border crossing that connects San Diego, California to Tijuana, Mexico. The driver declared his cargo as medical lab equipment. It's the kind of stuff anxiously needed in the United States during the pandemic. Maybe he hoped that need might cut him some slack at the border check. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers, however, still sent the driver, the truck, and the shipment for inspection. An imaging scanner, similar to a giant X-ray machine, noted anomalies in his load. A drug-sniffing dog then detected suspected drugs in boxes near the rear of the trailer. The jig was up. In the packages, officers found 3,014 pounds of methamphetamine. Also in the haul was 64 pounds of heroin, 39 pounds of fentanyl powder, and almost 37 pounds of fentanyl pills. It was declared the second largest meth seizure at the southwest border. Beyond its size, though, this load highlights a significant trend in drug trafficking that is often overshadowed by the dominant narrative of the cocaine trade. The borderlands remain frozen in much of the public's mind for its tidal wave of cocaine, thanks to movies and TV shows wallowing in the heyday of the frantic war against the coke trade. The fact is, Mexico has become much more than just a way station for Colombian cartels, and the drug scene in America has changed as well. At odds with the fictional character Walter White in Breaking Bad.
What are you doing?
These are my good clothes. You can't go home smelling like a meth lab.
Yeah, you can. I do.
The DEA says virtually all meth in the United States now comes from Mexican cartels through the major border crossing points along the U.S.-Mexico border. And it makes perfect sense. Mexico has played a major role in the flood of drugs into the United States for many decades, first as a source of marijuana. It became a huge transit point for cocaine from South America in the 1970s. By the early 2000s, some 70% of South America's cocaine passed through Mexico. About half of it, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration said at the time, was coming by land across the 2,000-mile-long U.S.-Mexico border. It made the narco cartels in Mexico insanely rich and powerful, with El Chapo Guzman as boss of the Mexico-based Sinaloa cartel, said to have eclipsed even the influence of Pablo Escobar when he was the boss of Colombia's notorious Medellin cartel. But the cocaine didn't start its journey in Mexico. It was imported there before crossing into America. Cocaine wasn't a natural resource for Mexico, so why wouldn't El Chapo expand his portfolio to other high-demand drugs? In the 1990s, motorcycle gangs and small local producers controlled much of the meth production in the United States, but a government crackdown on meth labs and tighter controls on the precursor chemicals used to make it opened up another opportunity south of the border. Mexican traffickers worked to fill that void. Using an industrial scale rather than the small cook shops in the US, El Chapo's cocaine routes started including bulk meth along with the normal loads, and offered a steady supply of high-quality, low-cost meth. It was a huge success. By the early 2000s, the DEA estimated Mexico-based groups controlled 70 to 90% of the meth in the United States. It was being smuggled across the border and transported by tractor-trailer and other vehicles along the highways to major transfer centers around the country. Authorities traced 9 major meth transportation hubs in Atlanta, Dallas, El Paso, Houston, Los Angeles, New Orleans, Phoenix, San Diego, and St. Louis. These 9 hubs distributed bulk meth across America accounting for more than 70% of all meth seized by the DEA in 2019. Federal authorities spent 6 months targeting these hubs, and just last month announced the results of what they called Operation Crystal Shield. Close to 2,000 arrests, almost 30,000 pounds of meth, over $40 million in proceeds, and hundreds of guns. Much of the meth comes into the country alongside other drugs in the same shipment. They call it poly-drug shipments. And that trend, that important pattern, is exactly what we see in the Otay Mesa border crossing seizure last week. Perhaps the size of the load was the traffickers' response to Operation Crystal Shield. Maybe all the seizures and arrests left a hole in the market that they're now rushing to fill. Because if history has taught us anything about the border, is that as long as there is demand, there will always be someone trying to fill it. Thanks